See, they're still out. It's on the solstice today, and there's hummingbirds in the evening. He's here. He knows I fed him. He's been here a couple of times. There's other ones. So I put some nectar in it for them, and yeah, he's liking it a lot. He doesn't mind me at all. Apparently, who was it? It was Jackson Crawford again, the professor and director of Old North at the University of Colorado Boulder. And he said that during his doctoral year, he wrote an Old Norse poem about a war between the hummingbirds, which is what they do. Apparently they fight with each other, and they're like a warlike race, and they have codes and stuff like that. Anyway, so I have to sign this off because the power's getting low. Well, hummingbird at sunset, yeah, there's another omen, okay? Hummingbird at sunset on the apocalypse. A Roman augur or a Greek one or someone from Haran, where they studied the stars before any city was born. They were studying the stars at Haran. Haran dates to 500 years after Göbekli Tepe. So anybody who knows how that is knows that that's super old, right? That's crazy super old, right? So they were studying the stars and passing down the knowledge orally and through the design of things, and built some marvels that are wonders of the world. Look them up. The Temple of the Seven Planets. The Temple of the Moon Goddess, Sin. Had a famous cupola with some kind of crystal light on it that could be seen for miles. The Mongols destroyed it in 1230, somewhere in there. I'm not sure the date the Mongols came into that area. But this is the whole point again about history, about what has been destroyed. The cities that were destroyed by war. Maybe Mohenjo-Daro. But there was no sign of a battle, but a battle nearby seems likely. That's the whole point. The city was empty, but it became uninhabitable because of the landscape changing. When the seas rose, 6,000 BC, right? When Lake Agassiz let go into the North Atlantic, it was an ice bridge between Quebec and Greenland. It let go, and Lake Agassiz went all the way up to Minnesota, right? And it all went into the North Atlantic. The sea came up, the North Sea and Doggerland became the North Sea. The Baltic flooded, the Black Sea flooded, other things flooded. More, Indonesia, India to Ceylon, it all flooded. So what lies beneath the waters, we will never know. We don't have time to find out. We're beginning to realize what's down there. But this is the thing, it was said that in those times all things shall be revealed. And now we're finding out more and more and more. Just before it doesn't matter anymore. It wouldn't have helped us anyway. What's coming is something that was set in motion long before the industrial age, and it's built into who we are and what we do. And technos itself, our tool-using nature, to sum it up briefly, is part of our nature, and we're part of nature ourselves. Were we something someone tampered with? We can't know that. Are we a hologram? Well, in the sense of our perceptions limit us to a certain conception of what reality is to make us think of that possibility, but in a very real sense, we're something that exists in a continuum that's far larger than us, through which we move linearly, and there are 8, 15, 20 different dimensions to move through. I don't even know how many anymore that they've calculated using mathematics. But if you read pure Hinduism, I'm just shutting my door, which I realize I've left open all this time. So, if you read pure Hinduism, there are many thousands of dimensions, and there are many hundreds of thousands of years in the cosmos have calculated it all out. If Hinduism is the oldest faith, I wouldn't call it a religion, which is a set of rules. It certainly has them built into the culture, caste system and all that of the religion, but that's the religion part. But the metaphysics of it, of the cosmogony, and how it fits with Indian history and the archaeological record they're realizing. Also, with the interaction with the Alexandrian Empire and the Bactrians and so on, development of Buddhism and with Greek art and so on. First portrayals of Buddha were done in the Greek style, in Bactria, I think in LXIc, which had contact with Han China, which vanquished it and came back with a whole herd of horses. So everybody was linked in ancient times. Same across the North Atlantic. We know all about the Polynesians, and they were in touch with Alaska by their own traditions. And no Tlingit or Aleut would deny that. Only the white man denies it. You see, there is this alternate history of the world that's not the one that you're taught in school and textbooks or on TV or the media. They're not taught about it because they don't need you to know. They don't know themselves. But this was the way the world was, right? And then they had these cars, machines. But look what we've done in just 250 years of the Industrial Revolution. The thing is, the oil industry, never mind what it's done to the air and everything else, but the plastics that came along in the 1950s, nylon, all that stuff, right? But especially the plastics, you know, basically in human terms, it'll last to the end of time. And right now, they're estimating that in so many years, there'll be more massive plastic in the ocean than marine life. So we better learn to somehow metabolize plastic, is what I'm thinking. That's one of our only solutions. But the methane problem doesn't have a solution unless we get really super inventive as to how to harness it. It might be the answer to everything. We have other answers, but we may have to go underground. We may have to build dome cities. We certainly need to build seawalls and build only on higher ground and prepare for. Around here, I don't want to be here when the cataclysm happens. You know, it's a beautiful area here, but that river right there, that river, oh, there's my little friend again. There he is. There's my little friend again. That river I was just showing you, the Fraser. 30 miles down there, it's Richmond, which is on Lulu Island, Annacis Island, other bunch of islands, including the one the airport's on, Sea Island, and the Vancouver sewage plant on Iona. It's 2 to 3 miles deep of alluvial silt. So, guess what that means when there's a big shake? And it doesn't have to come from the Cascadia fault. There's faults all over this area that could cause it. But it would cause, with the right harmonic of the vibration of the quake, it would liquefy half of Lulu Island west of number 5 road. I don't want to be around here because it's not just the poor people of Richmond who will go when that goes, but also that slump is going to cause not just a mega tsunami underneath the water that will pulse bigger than a regular tsunami all through the Gulf, up and in between the islands. I don't know how far up Puget Sound it'll get. It's kind of around San Juan will get it, but up out of Puget Sound it was complicated for it to hit to Seattle. Doesn't matter because it knocks out everything in the area when it does that. But then you have this hole in the water where Lulu Island used to be and all the other islands, and there's the rest of the delta, right? The rest of the hard, bad, deep silt, very soft, colloidal-like, gelatin-like sand. That is very fine sand, floating sand. That is the Fraser Delta Islands, you know. So anyway, that collapses, and then what does the Gulf of Georgia do after that tsunami washes back? And also, first the water will also start to rush. So there'll be that one, a rush up from the river, from the water that rushes in to fill where Lulu Island and Annacis and however far up the islands go, that dissolve, and then the pulse up the river will take out Port Coquitlam, Port Mann, Pitt Meadows, Hammond, Point Haney, and probably up the hill here where we're looking at here. It'll probably wash right up on here. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be in Maple Ridge for it. And you'll be cut off. There won't be food. The only airport to survive will be Abbotsford. The disaster scenario here is frightening. It really is. It is. You know, but it's a beautiful place, and people like California. People live here despite the risk, but they're blinder to it than Californians because they're not reminded of it all the time. Californians are reminded of it all the time. We like to be frightened by it, but we're lucky it doesn't happen here more like it just did up in Alaska. Yeah, that was something.